Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. So we're at the last section of the class that I've been holding so far on HTML and CSS. So let me just show you one last thing, or just the last things that you should know. There's something called responsive media queries. So by creating, for instance, if you have a page, then maybe you want some parts of the page to look somehow on mobile, or to, for instance, let me quickly show you. As you can see, I believe you can see my screen. So you can see the nav bar here, right? So if I do this Firefox, so if I do Control Shift M, it's going to change this screen to the mobile view. Control Shift M changes it to a mobile view, right? So you can see instead of the whole menu is listed out like it was. Let me close this. This is what it was, right? So if I do Control Shift M, everything looks like this. So the menus now arranged this way. You can see. So how it looks on mobile is different from what it looks like on desktop. So let me change this iPhone 11. So let me click here and then choose iPad. You get to see what it looks like on iPad. It still has this guy here. So I can even change the screen sizes by typing in. If I want it to have a specific screen size, I can type it here and then see what it looks like. If I want to see what it looks like on Galaxy, you can see. So if I take it back to, if I close it and take it, it automatically goes back to what it looks like on desktop. So this is the function of media queries. So let's say, let me say responsive. Let me just, so I'll just use W3 schools examples to show you what they look like. So you can just try it out in your project. Responsive media queries. So this is it. Responsive. So sorry, media query. Anyway, it's just used to make your website responsive. So what you've been doing all this while is not responsive. So let me use Uchenna's project. This is the project he sent to me. Can remember I gave you an assignment. So this is the project he sent. So let me put it here. So you see what it looks like. This is project, nice work. So, but if I do Control Shift M, though generally you have to find a way to make it align with this box, or you make this one align with this text field. But this is very nice. So you just make your stuff look neat. Like this submit should align. Yeah, so that's just basically how to make things look neat. So it's just a very nice try. So if I do Control Shift M, it's not responsive, right? You can see everything looks tiny and all that. So that's the essence of media queries. You can use it to rearrange, to state how you want this screen to look like. So another way of doing Control Shift M, the original way of doing it is, let me take this thing out. The original way of doing it, every browser has something like this. So tools, responsive design mode, right? That's how you get to do it. It's even written there. More tools, responsive media mode, Control Shift M. That's how to enable it. For Chrome, let me see what Chrome looks like. For Chrome, this is what Chrome looks like. Settings. Not found there. I'm not in the right place. So for Chrome, so go to More Tools, Developer Tools. Developer Tools, right? Automatically, so you can now choose, what the screen you want. So that's what Chrome looks like. So I think it's Control Shift I. Let me try Control Shift I. All right, yeah, Control Shift I for Chrome. So that's, by the way, so every browser has Safari, every browser has a way of enabling the developer tools to see how responsive it is. So so what do we want to do? Let me just quickly show you an instance. So first of all, I will suggest you guys install this application called XAMPP, XAMPP, right? This is it. So just download it and click on it, or just click on download and all that and install. It shows you something like enable for public network, whatever. Just keep going next, and keep installing, right? So after installing XAMPP is just more like a server, right? Where you can put your files. So remember, you can see what this looks like. If I open this web page, you can see what it looks like. File this, like, right? So to make it look neat and organized, and maybe when you are building a professional project, you're not supposed to have something like this as a URL. It should look clean and neat. Like, so if you are doing something for production purposes, like you want to deploy an application, this is a wrong way of having your URL. You keep getting things messed up. For instance, so let me open this folder in what do you call it? VS Code, right? Open with VS Code. So you can see this is, if I open it in VS Code, it looks this neat, right? So I'm supposed to have, if I want to visit this site, I'm supposed to do something like what did he call this original folder? SIGBOARD assignment / you understand? It's supposed to look like this. I understand. It's supposed to look like this. If I want to visit this, something like this, simple, without the many links, right? The many parts, the case may be. So to do something like this, that's the essence of XAMPP. So after installing your XAMPP, the XAMPP, appears. After installing it successfully, you should see the XAMPP. This is it. Like, I've installed mine already, so that's why I didn't really go through the whole process of installing it here again in this video. So this is it. So once you after installing it, just click on the XAMPP control panel. Click on XAMPP control panel. Mine opens automatically, right? Mine starts running automatically. That's how I set up my own. But it's supposed to show you something like this, and then mine runs automatically, so that's why it's already running. So once it starts seeing the ports showing, that means everything is working well. So, but by default, once you click XAMPP control panel from your menu, all these should be start, right? So just the way this one is. So you just click on start, but it's showing stop because it's already running. So the Apache is the server for the PHP server, right? And then MySQL, PHP is another programming language for backend purposes, like if you want to write codes and all that. PHP is Apache is one server that can run your PHP files. There are so many other servers out there, that you can use to host your files. So the essence of it is just to give you that feel of running your website the way it will run online. So, but this time the server will help it run locally on your system. That's the essence of the XAMPP. So XAMPP contains Apache, contains MySQL, contains FileZilla and all these that you need. So it's like an all-in-one, application that contains all these for you. So it's a server. So as you can see, my Apache is running, MySQL is running. So these two things are all I need. So if you want to configure your own to automatically start running, so you just come to config, select Apache, select MySQL, just say start control panel minimized, and that's just it, and just save. So automatically it should look like this, right? And then once you save it, by default, once you open it, it starts running automatically for you. So you don't need to go and start opening to start, click on the start button. So it's running now. So all I have to do is, this is my folder, project folder. Right, so all the projects you've been building, just copy all of them, go to your C, because by default, once you install XAMPP, it automatically comes here. You can see that. Go to your drive C, click on drive C, you see, scroll down, you should see XAMPP. Click on XAMPP, open XAMPP, open htdocs. So this is where you paste your folders, your project folders. So that is it. So make sure your project folder after zipping it or whatever, it doesn't have another folder inside. Just make sure it's neat as possible. So you just have your project folder, have then your files, your images folder, whatever you want to put inside, So once you do this, the next thing you want to do now is, instead of just clicking on this stuff to open your file as you've been doing, right? Instead of clicking on that, all you have to do is just come here and say localhost / so automatically once you say localhost, you're calling this folder, you're calling the htdocs folder, right? So you just say localhost / then you know the name of your folder inside the htdocs, single assignment, that's what he called it, san digital.html. So once I do this and say enter, you can see this is my new URL. You can see how neat it is now. So if I have another file inside that folder, I can just go and call the file name, blah, 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 and that's it. So it's more, this is how your website now looks. So that's the essence of that server. So anytime you want to check out your folder, your project folders and all that, text it, once you have the XAMPP installed, all you have to do is turn it on, make sure it's running. You can see it's running, right? Make sure it's running. It's running. So, because if it's not running, if you try to do this, it will show you an error telling you that it's offline. So make sure your server, your XAMPP server is online and running so that you can do something like this. So localhost, your project folder name, automatically everything shows up. So if there was an index file, if I click on this, it should show me the index file, right? It should just open. This is what I'm trying to say. So let's say this Sun Digital is called index. So watch. You can see because there was no index file, it's now showing me the whole folder. But if I do this, because there's an index file, this is what it now looks like, right? I don't even need to say index.html. So once there's index.html or index.php or whatever, the server automatically picks it as the default file that it should open once you come to the folder, right? I believe it makes sense to you. So let's go back to the responsive stuff we've been talking about. So first of all, you can see how it's used. So let's go to, let me close this guy, come back here. Sorry, I will not have to, let me go to my project folder now, it has changed. Open it with, oh my God. Open with code, yes. So now, we're in a project folder. So he did internal CSS. He didn't have a separate file for his CSS. Well, this doesn't look too cool. It's okay to definitely work, but it's neater if you have your CSS file in other sheet, right? So now if you want to start specifying the media queries. So this is where you do that. Just say at media only screen. You want to use the only screen, and then you now specify. So let's say, so let me use this guy. So when we say, let's say, and max, let's just copy the whole thing anyway. Let's copy the whole thing. So let me copy this whole guy and just paste it. So what this code now says is this. Remember, it's still within your style. So what this code now says is, this. If the screen, the maximum width of the screen is 600 px, let the body background color be light blue. All right. So, you know what? So let's pick one section. So let me use this section now. Let me inspect it. So what's the name of this section? this section is called class main article, right? So let me copy it. So let me just say, let the background color of class main article, sorry, remember to put the dots. So you can see what happened. Once you say at media only, and you now specify the condition, you put the opening brace, put the closing brace. Then inside it, you now start putting the styles that you want for a screen that has a maximum width of 600 ps. So let's save and go back here. If I refresh this, you can see it's still yellow, right? Because the maximum width of this screen is definitely more than 600 ps. But do you see what just happened? So let's do a maximum screen of oh, I don't know what phone has. Let's say iPhone 5. What's giving this main article background color yellow? Let me switch this. See, 568. Okay, let me look at this code again. Maximum width 600 px main article. Let the background be yellow. So let me make it important. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Let me add the important tag. So this important enforces your CSS rules. So you can see it's changing somewhere, but something is overriding it. I don't know what's overriding it. So article 1. Okay, so let me still say article 1 class should have a background blue. I don't know if that's the name of the class. So let me say comma. So you can style two classes by just putting comma and giving them the same. So I'm styling this and this. You can always do it here as well. Use it anywhere. You can put comma if you want to have two classes having the same style. Okay, for some reasons, I don't know why the background is still showing as yellow. Okay, let me say if the let's say minimum width, mean width. Let me see what it looks like. Okay, if the minimum width, I think I was the one messing the logic up. So if the minimum width is 600, okay, I was the one messing the logic up. Whoa, whoa. You can see that. The height is 568. The width is 320. So anything less than 600, the width will turn to blue. The background color will be blue, light blue, which is what I stated here. So that's how to play around with that. But see, now, still not. Okay, but I think we should just continue. Let me look for a better breakpoint. So this is like a better stuff guide you can use, right? So I like giving people this guide out. Like if you want to do that, you can see from here to here states it's for extra small devices, phone 600 px and down for the width. So if the width, so let me take out this guy now. Let me say this. So I like pasting, so doing something like this as a guide for anybody who wants to, this is like a guide. So if you want to do something like, remember, it's showing us an error because of these dots inside. So take out the dots. So it's easier this way. So now you can see the error is gone. It's no more red. So it's red here before, but it's all gone. So if you want to do something for, let's say, Let me still use this code to refresh this guy. I think it's gone. For some reasons, I don't know why. So let me say article container. His article container background color is black. So let me try styling now. So for extra small devices with a maximum width 600, media only screen is minimum width 600. If the minimum width is 600, that's 600 and above. Okay. Okay, let me put for if the maximum width is 600, let this container have a background color of let it have a background color. So I'm putting this background color style here. So you have a background color of red, for instance. That's if the maximum width is 600. Let me see. Okay, now it's black. For some reasons, I don't know why this is not working. Sorry, one minute, please. I think there's something I need to do with viewport. I'm not so sure that is. So just remember that I need to add something, and that's why it's not working. Let's say media queries. I need to add something that has to meta tag that has to do with viewports. So let me see. There's something I've not added to this code exactly. This is it. So we should add this to your code. You add it to your meta tag within your head. So let me add it as the first thing. You need to add that code. You need to add it. Let's just put it after the title. The meta tag. So this will help everything we've been doing now. So width equal to device width, exactly, viewport. So once you specify that, your code should work now. So I've saved it, Control S. So let's go back to our code and see. Okay, now we're having a positive feedback. What we're doing. Exactly. So background red. So what's making it show this way? Okay, that's by the way. So let's try to, at least it's giving me what I want now. Let's see. What was the name of that stuff we are trying to style? That's this guy. Let's see the class name, main article, right? So let's style main article again. Main article, background of red. So if the maximum width of the screen, that's the screen, the width, the maximum is 600, that main article should have a background of red. You can see it's working now, right? So if I want to do, let's say let me take out this guy now and say something like, if the minimum width is 600, meaning from 600 and above, you should have this background of red. You see what will happen, right? Because the minimum width is 428, right? Meaning it's less than 600. So let's look for a device that has a minimum width of 600 and above. You can see the minimum width is 810. So from 600 and above, as this stuff will come into effect, right? Because it has a minimum width of 600. That's from 600 and above. The screen size should be 600 and above. So that means if I do this, right, you can see that because the full laptop screen size is above 600. So that's why this thing is taking effect too for the full screen size. So that's how to play around with media queries. You can even state, for instance, if you want something I like doing, like let's do Control Shift M again and go back to an iPhone. Let's say iPhone 13 Pro Max. Like this is one thing I like doing. This section now, for instance, you can see it's kind of, I need to drag the screen, like move it this way before I can see the end of that stuff, which doesn't really look cool. So what I like doing, or what I advise people to do, is you see this stuff, like this very one here, you can make it to be 100% like on mobile, so that the width of this particular one here will occupy this whole place. This other one for Emily we come down here. This other one for Nuhu, we come, so it's going to be like full width. That's how it's supposed to appear, not sharing the screen like this. So Darion should occupy this whole width. Emily should come down to the next box. Nuhu should come down to the next, like occupying. So that's how it's supposed to be. So the way to do that is just to specify the width on mobile. So let's say this is article 9, 8, 9, 10. So let's say article 8. Let me try to, you can see you did the width. You said the width should be 23%, right? But if I'm doing it on mobile, it should be like this. This is how it should make sense, right? You can see how it looks now. So what I would suggest is for article 8, 9, 10, make their width to be 100%. So it will look like this on mobile. So, but then if you still go to your desktop, it should still appear the way you know, very fresh. It should still appear the way we designed it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to specify, what do you call it? Article 8, 9, 10. So let's say article, I think I'm spelling article wrong. Article 8, article 9, it's wrong. Article 9, article 10. What's wrong? I'm spelling article wrong today. That's wrong. Article 10. So you can see this is showing red because I've not finished the codes. So let's say the width of each of them should be 100% on devices from 600 PS width down. So let me refresh this page now. So this is the essence of media queries. On laptop view, it's going to be perfect. But if I do Control Shift M to see what it looks like on mobile, you can see this is now the look on mobile as opposed to the previous look on mobile. So that's the beauty of media queries for you. And also, so you can just use media queries to do the same thing to this, right? And even add margins to the bottom, because as you can see, it's kind of like glued together, right? So let's test the margin. So that's one beauty of your code inspector. That's this part. So you can use it to test out something and see what it looks like before you implement it. So let's say, let me add a margin of, let's say margin to the bottom. Let me give it, let's see 5px, for instance. Let me be sure. You can see it's separated now. So let's say 10px, sure. Let's say 20px should make more sense, right? Can even specify a padding. So can add padding, make it auto, for instance. Let me see. No, auto can work for padding. So let's do 5px for padding on mobile. That's okay, that's fine. So I can just go, you can even see in the style, you can see it's pointing to my code, right? Where I specified it, media only, this, that's where it's pointing to. But once I get off the screen, my code disappears. It just shows me this. But once I take it back to mobile, it shows me what it looks like on mobile, right? So I can just come here and add the code that I copied, right? This is the code I added. So put it here. Supposed to do here. Tab, not space. So save, refresh my page. Bam. So you can see code is in full effect. So mind you, any code you are putting in your code inspector is not saved. Because if I add any code here and refresh my page, it goes. But the essence of this is to see what it looks like on the fly. So, right? So if I do 10px, you can see what it looks like on the fly. But mind you, once you refresh your page, everything goes back to default. So that's how to work with your media queries. So I'm giving you an instance. Once you go back to your screen, everything looks normal. So you can also state how you want the color to be, the font color to be, or whatever you want to do for each screen. So for tablets, that's the one that has a minimum width of 768. That's from 768 and above, state what it should be. Or if you are doing this, make sure that you state what it should look like for these screens as well. I'm doing this because it's just only maximum width of this. So also you can, if you don't want to use minimum width, you can use maximum width. So you want to specify every screen that the width is from 0 to 600. You can even do away with this if you don't want. So you can do away with this. So you can, it's not compulsory you have everything. So you can remove the ones you don't need. You can specify how you want. You can, so I can remove this and just say, okay, any screen that the maximum width is, oh, sorry, gone too far. Any screen that the maximum width is, for instance, let's say 768, right? 768. I want the, let's say the body to have a background color of this. Sorry, the body tag. Supposed to be fast, right? The body tag to have a background color of this. That tag to have the background color. So you can specify for any screen size you want to use, right? In the essence, I added everything is for you to see the different, breakpoints, right, for each of the screens. For small devices, if you want to style for just this, you can select only media query, only this maximum width. If you want to do maximum width of this, if you want to do minimum width, that means it's from that width to something higher, right? So that's how to play around with media queries, excuse me. That's how to play around with media queries. I don't know if I'm missing any other thing. Okay, yeah, this another way you can still play around with media queries. You can see this person specified minimum width of 900 and maximum width of this. So this is another good way. If you just want to specify, you can still do something like this. All right. These are for different viewpoints, sorry, breakpoints. You can just do something like this. And inside here, yes, you specify for the screen, because now you're styling for the screen with a minimum width of 900 and a maximum width of 1200. Then you now put the, the div or whatever you want to style to your taste. And that's how to work with responsive media queries. Okay, that being said, then one more thing I want to tell you about responsive media queries is that you can also specify how you want an item to look when it's printed, and that's the essence of media print, right? Now let's try one thing for media print and we'll call it a day. So let's say whatever I want to put there can be there. So let's do media print. Now at media print, let's say I want the body, or let's say, so let me just look for that. So on media print, I want, let me refresh this guy. Okay, it's still red. I want this main article to be green, for instance. So I want the main article to be green. So if I'm printing, I want the class called main article to have a background of green. Sorry, background color of green. And then while printing too, I believe you've seen situations whereby you want to print a page, and once you click on print, the buttons on the page will disappear. You can easily do that too. So let's use this button as example. So let's say this is a button, right? Subscribe. So let's say when I'm printing, I want the ID subscribe, right? I want it to be hidden. I don't want this button to show at all. So when I'm printing, so I can just simply do that by coming here again and subscribe was an ID. So that's why I'm using hash, not that. So if I want it to be hidden, I'll just say display none. So I'm trying to say that if I'm printing, I don't want it to show. So remember, any style at all, you can put it in your media screen as well. So if you want to say on mobile, for instance, let me show you what I mean. On mobile, okay, let me say mobile with maximum width. Okay, let me just work with only minimum width of 100, for instance, and maximum width of, let's say, 600, for instance. So I want the button, subscribe button, to be hidden. I don't want it to show. So watch. So let me refresh this page. Now you can see. So if I go to this, you can see the button is hidden. The subscribe button disappeared because I specified it in the screen that for screen sizes of 100 to 600 in width, let the subscribe button disappear. So that's what I just did. And you can see it's no more there. But if I close this, let's say if I go to a bigger screen, let's say an iPad, it's showing for an iPad, right? But if I use a smaller screen, because an iPad is greater than 600, the screen is 810, so it's greater than 600. But if I use a screen from 600 and below, no, this is still greater than 600. Let's say this, you can see the width is 390. So that means it falls between 100 and 600. That's why it's not displaying. So what I was trying to show you about the print, media print, is this. So let's say I want to print this page now. Normally, let me refresh my page. Excuse me. Normally, if I want to print this page, this button should show, right? Let's say Control P. All right, but you can see Control P, that button is no more showing. Why? Because I've specified it in the print that it should be hidden. So, but let's say I remove this. I've removed it, Control S to save. And come back here, you say Control P. You can see the subscribe button is showing, right? But if I want to hide it in my print, I'll just do something like this. And then if I do Control P on the browser, Control P is how to print, or you right click, there should be a print or something. So yeah, if your browser has something like this, file, print, Control P to print, you can see it's hidden because I've specified it in the media query for the print. So you can decide to hide some parts of your screen, some menus, some things. It's all up to you. You can do that in your print. That's at the stage where you want to print. You can do that. You can do it for a mobile screen too. So that's the essence of media queries. So like I did, if you want to show that stuff that came up, that's the toolbar, just press your Alt key, automatically pulls up the toolbar for you on the screen so you can print, or you just say Control P to print, and that's it. So that's all I wanted to show you guys about responsive media queries, right? So the next thing that we'll now be talking about is Bootstrap, but it's a framework. So I will give you guys a link on how to get started with it and how to make use of it. And if you have any questions, you can, let me know, and then I'll answer all your questions. Then after that, we'll move right into JavaScript, but you can play around with media queries like I've taught you today. You can come to this site called w3schools.com. You can always use Google. You can see how I search for it. I just said responsive media queries and it pulled this guy up. So w3schools.com is one good place if you want to learn any programming course or whatever easily and on the fly. You can use W3 Schools. Always make use of your Google or your search engine or whatever you use. And you can recall that when we were trying to do that initially, it didn't work because we didn't add this code, this meta tag code here in our what do you call it now? In our code, HTML code. So make sure you add it. That's the only way your media queries, like what you've been doing here, will work. So you can see where I added the code here. Right, this is the code here. So make sure you add it and then proceed to using your media queries. So that's it. So some people tell you mobile first, like you should design for mobile first before you now start designing for desktop, but everybody has their own approach of things. So what we've been doing all this while is desktop first, before we now start using media queries to start stating what we want to do and all that. So everybody has their own approach of doing things. If mobile first is your way, that means you are building for mobile first, and after which you use media queries to start saying how it will be for desktop. But the approach you've been doing all this while and how it has been for a long time from the start is desktop first before you use media queries to start specifying what you want it to look like on mobile. So that's all for now. I'll see you on the next one. Have a nice day. Bye.